Hey guys, my name is Ryan and welcome to Overwatch Central. So just to be very clear, I'm not going to be asking for a D.Va nerf at all in this video. In fact, most of you guys that know me, I played the majority of D.Va last season, and I honestly don't think that a nerf is going to solve all that much, and I don't think that she deserves a nerf either. The problem is a little bit more complicated than that, and in this video we're going to go over why this is the case, why D.Va is superbly monstrous in the top tiers, but she doesn't deserve a nerf. We'll also be listening to something that Jake said that kind of fits into this as well. D.Va's pick rate in the pro scene is crazy. Currently sitting at 95% pick rate in the Overwatch League, with second highest being Winston, 10% below that. Not only that, D.Va's pick rate now is higher than Mercy's was when she was the prominent pick in her own meta last Overwatch League stage. D.Va is also the second most popular character within the game, just below Moira, based off of overbuff, but according to Blizzard's actual stats, D.Va is the most popular hero in every ranked category other than Diamond and Platinum, going over the previous video that we did talking about the top 10 most played heroes in each rank. Those stats really cannot be ignored when it comes down to how good and prominent D.Va is in the current meta. But to be honest, a lot of this isn't actually her fault. Not much of it at least. But what do I mean by that? I'll explain. The reason why D.Va is so strong right now is that there is no other hero like her in her category. I honestly believe that if D.Va was nerfed to the point that she wasn't played as much, teams would just run triple DPS and a Winston in a dive formation. There's no other hero, and more specifically no other off tank that does what D.Va does. There are no more high mobility tank options to go for other than Winston, but you'll be playing Winston anyway. Never mind that off tank role that she fills in perfectly. So when your options are D.Va, Zarya and Hog, are you really surprised that D.Va is almost always picked there? But why are the maps important? Well, Jake actually goes over this in a VOD review that he was doing going over Gladiators and Spitfire, and he kind of goes off on a tangent talking about how dive works.
Do I think D.Va will get nerfed finally to stop dive meta? I don't think you need to nerf D.Va. I think the real problem with the game right now is that it's actually map design, it's not that the maps are bad, because the maps are good, but the problem is that at a very high level, it's very difficult to balance characters with extreme mobility like Winston and D.Va with characters like Ryan with almost no mobility like Reinhardt or Zarya.
One thing that Jake failed to mention in this clip is that right now we're in a very map dependent meta. What I mean by that is, even in the same game modes, depending on what map you're on, you will see very different heroes being played. Say for example, if you're defending on Volskaya Industries, your team lineup will look completely different to how it would look defending Hanamura, Anubis, or most definitely Horizon. It is the same game mode and you're on the same side. Even with the same teammates, you're going to have a different lineup with different heroes being played. For example, Anubis is very good for Widowmaker, Hanamura likes Soldier to be played. Old Volskaya loved having the old Sombra to hack those health packs. And, you know, Horizon is just a mess of quad tanks a lot of the time. But Winston, D.Va are still the more common tanks that you would see, and most importantly, their transitional skills covers more maps than any other heroes in the game. But how has it changed since the last stage of Overwatch League? Well, we have to look at a map that is played on the previous and current stage of Overwatch League, and that's Lijiang Tower. D.Va's pick rate on this map went up from 75 to 95%, and 8 out of the 12 teams in the league ran her 100% of the time. But why? Who was she taking the place out of to have gone up 20% in pick rate? Well, with looking at the biggest winner, we have to look at the biggest loser in this tank category, which is actually Orisa. Orisa's pick rate went down from 11.85% to 0.27% on Lijiang Tower alone. Overall, her pick rate went from 17% to 2%. Dallas Fuel ran Orisa the most last stage with a 45% pick rate on all the maps. Now it's just over 5%. Roadhog and Zarya's pick rate also fell, but not by the same extent, and we'll get onto that in a second. Whilst Orisa is a main tank and D.Va is an off tank, they don't contest the same slot in that sense, they're not competing, but it shows how the game isn't really favouring anti-dive in the same way as it did before, and this is important to why D.Va is more popular. It's because of Mercy. Mercy could get absolute wear from instant resin a Roadhog or Orisa with her ult before when they're playing anti-dive. It's an instant massive tank with cooldowns ready to mitigate and stall a point. But since the Mercy nerf, now that she can't instantly res targets during her Valkyrie, it means that it's much more difficult to get those reses off, especially in the middle of a team fight. And because of that, we aren't going to see Orisa's and Hogs resed as much, and their impacted worth suddenly plummets. Most especially with a map pool that has been ran on Overwatch League Stage 2 as well. There's no Junkertown or Horizon to be running those bunker comps on. Volskaya and Hanamura are very dive centric in comparison for 2CP. And even if you were running these bunker comps, you see a lot of teams just running D.Va alongside and still finding decent worth with it. Right now, Zarya and Roadhog can't really compete. There's no need to play the other off tanks in the game, so teams just focus on playing D.Va predominantly and getting better at her. The only time that you do see Roadhog and Zarya get used a little bit more is part of a triple tank composition. That's why Zarya and Hog's pick rate hasn't fallen as much as Orisa's, but they still get picked alongside a D.Va instead of contesting that slot with her. So even when the other tanks are picked up in situations, they're not contesting for a slot, they simply just get played together. Why not both? It's almost why Winston hasn't risen as much as D.Va, and Reinhardt has tripled his pick rate in that time as well. All in all, there's no situation in the game currently where a tank like D.Va is a bad pick. Whilst Roadhog Zarya do have their uses, D.Va is just the tracer of the tanks. If you have a good one on your team, you don't need them to play anything else. So how do we fix this? If not by nerfing D.Va, then what do we do? Well, it actually unfortunately relies on Hero 28, or how the game currently looks. With any luck, the next hero will be a tank, and ultimately it needs to try and contest what D.Va does as a tank alongside. We need more mobile tanks within the game. It isn't even a case of dive being more of a staple meta, because it is quite diverse. You can run different kinds, dive, triple tank, bunker comp to an extent, a whole load of other compositions. But in all of these lineups, you'll most likely be running a D.Va in it, and that's the reason why she's so ridiculously strong right now. She's the master key that opens up the door to a load of different compositions. She has the monopoly on the off-tank role with how the game is currently looking. And because so many compositions are defined by the maps that they're played on, it's understandable that teams will try and make one hero work dynamically across all of the maps and the compositions that they provide. And frankly, D.Va is the most flexible and dynamic tank in the game because of this. She's the Swiss Army knife that is currently dictating the game as it's played. But let me know what you think of all of this in the comments below. I believe that she's very strong right now, very prominent, but I feel nerfing her is just going to open a way of teams running triple DPS dive, and we're already starting to see that just a little bit. So I'd appreciate that not happening, I suppose. But let me know what you think. Take care. We'll see you next time.